welcome to the Film Theorists, Arlington High School's movie review show. I'm Jadyn Coleman, and this is my co-host, Marin, Stuart. Today we will be reviewing the film The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind, released in 2019, directed and produced by Chiwetel Ejiofor.
The movie is about William Kamkwamba, a teenager living in the Wimby village of Malawi, South Africa. The plot follows William and his family as they face the hardships caused by an erratic, rainy season and a neglectful government. To solve this extreme starvation and adversity, William resolves to harness the power of the wind and build a water pump big enough to provide water year-round. Because the focus on the family relationships, the movie being based off of a memoir written by the real-life William Kamkwamba, it falls under the category and genre of biographical drama.
After watching this film, there is definitely a message implied that success can absolutely come from following your own morals for the greater good. Quite frankly, the implicit meaning is relatively obvious as we see it develop with the main character. Throughout the film, of course, the village is midway in political and agricultural conflicts. This takes a great toll on William and his family. When he is stripped of the resources he has, he decides to take it upon himself to make things better. Because of this, he faces lots of opposition, especially from his father, Chiwetel Kamkwamba. There is one scene where William and his friends try to make William's father give up his bike for the windmill William is building, but William's father just cannot trust and understand William's commitment and refuses. William also deals with competition from other people in his community who are hopeless and struggling, like when men from the village break into his home and steal his family's crop harvest. But despite this objection and these barriers, Kamkwamba is not swayed by those who do not understand him. His determination and focus on what is best for the community is ultimately what helps him save the village.
One element that really sets the movie apart from others is the dialogue. There wasn't a lot throughout the movie, so it was mostly told through pictures and cinematography. This slowed the story down a bit, but also kept it more intriguing. You couldn't rely on just dialogue to understand the movie like you can for some, so you had to pay attention. The sparse dialogue also makes each sentence more impactful because there isn't so much fluff that it distracts you.
One formal element that very much helps define this film and allows it to reach its goal is the cinematography. Not only the story, but the setting was able to be captured in an intriguing way that allowed Kamkwamba's story to be told visually in an effective way. There are lots of shots and angles that allow for unspoken emotions to be conveyed through the screen. There are especially lots of wide shots during scenes where farming is involved. This really helped put the village's struggle into perspective. The lighting works with the shots as well. The film consists of primarily high-key lighting, and I really think that this allowed for the severity of the drought to be shown. I also think the contrast between the high-key lighting and the darker tones within the film allowed for foreshadowing of the ultimate resolution that was on the horizon.
So, what did you think of it?
I loved it. It was so beautiful just to see, William's story be told on the screen and, just the mixtures of the scientific and political and emotional aspects of his life. What about you?
Honestly, I didn't think I'd like it that much because the biography part of it kind of threw me off, but it was really interesting and it picked up well and was honestly pretty intriguing, like I said.
Yeah. And it's interesting because for him to be so young, you would think that, there might be a little bit of immaturity to the story, but I just think he had such a mature character.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of the hardships, his sister ran away and stuff. It was so sad.
Like, the honesty of the film allowed it to be so inspiring.
Yeah. So I give it a thumbs up.
Definitely, I give it a thumbs up.
So my surprise question for you is what you think of the dad, because, he was a huge role, but also kind of like a villain.
Yeah. The dad is a complex character. I definitely think that his character was a product of the situation he was in. I think that if they weren't going through an economic and political crisis, he wouldn't have been so hard on William and on his family. I think he would have been more accepting and a little bit more happier.
Okay.
But yeah. My surprise question for you is, do you think that William would have had the same success if he hadn't been kicked out of school?
I don't know, because a lot of his growth was like through his own and like teaching himself.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe he would have, but yeah, I think he probably would have had about the same, but it wouldn't have been as like big in the story as if he would have been schooled throughout it.
Right, right.
So this was our review of The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind, produced in 2019 and directed by Stuart Ejiofor and Marin Stewart, and my partner Jadyn Coleman and I give it a thumbs up. Bye.